We were sitting in the living room one night watching TV, and there was a tremendous explosion, it sounded like, and then the whole house shook.
Then the next day there was another one, and they just kept coming. And that's whenever we realized we definitely have a problem. We should not be having earthquakes in Texas.
This isn't earthquake country. This is Reno, Texas, population 3,200, and just 13 square miles long. If any place is small-town America, Reno is. Residents know each other, and they know something's changed in their town.
See, it's right here. Look, I'm just kind of creep in here. Right there, see how my foot keeps going?
Barbara Brown is a community activist and a longtime resident of Reno, Texas.
Yeah, this is definitely a concern.
And Reno is not alone. Colorado, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Ohio, and the rest of eastern Texas, all places not known for seismic activity, are suddenly on the earthquake map. According to scientists at the U.S. Geological Survey, over the past few years, within the central and eastern United States, nearly 450 earthquakes, magnitude 3.0 and larger, occurred from 2010 to 2013. Compared with 20 quakes per year from 1970 to 2000. Data that is beginning to show stories like Barbara's are all too real.
The earthquake came and went through the center of the house, everything shook. I walk out the front door and I'm like, where did my yard go?
Brown lives less than a mile away from what she and others in this area believe is the cause of the quakes. Hydraulic fracturing, more commonly known as fracking, is a process in which water mixed with sand, salt, and chemicals is pumped into underground rock formations to release oil and gas. Once the job is done, fracking fluids are pulled back out of the ground. This byproduct of oil and gas extraction is identified as fracking wastewater and is considered too contaminated to use. In Texas and several other states, injection wells store the contaminated water that's used to frack. The water is driven to wells like these, then injected deep into the ground where it can stay for years to come. It's this process that many suspect is increasing the seismic activity in the Azle-Reno area. We met with the mayor of Reno, Texas, Linda Stokes.
Well, I'm very concerned when this is an area that's never had quakes.
Mayor Stokes took us to the site of a nearby injection well.
As you can see, there actually is a truck that's pumping right now. And this one is actually the one that is the closest to or is the epicenter of the earthquakes.
Wow. According to the Texas Railroad Commission, XTO Energy, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil, owns this disposal well. Mayor Stokes expressed her opinion on the cause of the increase in earthquakes in the area.
You know, there's no beating around the bush. Yes, they are causing this increased activity. The more horizontal fracking and drilling that we have, the more problems, the more wastewater, the more injected into the ground we're doing, and it's opening fault lines that aren't open at the moment.
In a prepared statement, XTO, the company that owns this disposal well, told TechKnow, based on analysis of engineering data and scientific study performed to date, XTO does not believe its Westlake well caused any of the seismic events. It's a sensitive issue. When Mayor Stokes took us to a nearby fracking site, also owned by XTO, a driver began taking pictures of us on a cell phone. Residents of Reno and Azle are taking action.
The quake started recently, and it woke me up. I thought 747 landed on my roof.
In a round of highly publicized hearings at the Texas State Capitol, citizens voiced their complaints to the Railroad Commission of Texas. The Railroad Commission is a state agency that regulates the gas and oil industry, including drilling and disposal wells located throughout the state.
How would you like to have it where you can't have your grandkids come over to play in their yard? Because if they fall in a sinkhole, they'll break their leg.
In response to public pressure, the RRC has imposed regulations that will require oil and gas companies to research an area's earthquake history before drilling new injection wells.
Well, I live 0.96 miles from an injection well that the USGS, the EPA, the Texas Railroad Commission, and their geologists as well, all four said is the epicenter of the earthquakes that was caused in the Reno Azle area.
What are you hoping to achieve?
Hopefully they would at least take the research that they have at hand and say, let's lower the rate that we're injecting these fluids. Let's have someone come out and map the area and check for fault lines.
Southern Methodist University geophysicist Heather DeShawn is investigating the Reno Azle cluster of quakes at the U.S. Geological Survey's request.
We're currently looking at seismicity occurring outside of Fort Worth in the towns of Reno and Azle. We are doing modeling to try to figure out how the oil and gas activity relates or changes stress along these pre-existing faults.
On a personal level, how concerned are you about these earthquakes that are happening in your backyard?
My biggest concern is that something in the 4.5 range will occur in a highly populated area like the Dallas-Fort Worth area where the built environment is not built up to standards for those considerations.
Coming up on TechKnow, whose fault is it? Scientists drop specialized equipment deep under this home to see if the epicenter of Reno's quakes can be explained. Plus, can this solve the problem? How to clean up this murky mess.
We want to hear what you think about these stories. Join the conversation by following us on Twitter and at aljazeera.com/techknow.